Thank you, Madam Chair. I appreciate the opportunity to join you and my colleagues tonight in a discussion that has been very much in the attention of people now for a number of years, and something that, because it is so important, it has maintained the attention politically for many, many months. And that is the condition of our economy, indeed the condition of the world economy as well. And this might seem like kind of an esoteric topic, but it affects Americans all across this great land. And the main effect is that people don't have jobs. And when you don't have jobs, things don't go so well. The American nation was founded by many, many courageous people over a period of hundreds of years. And they came to this land with dreams in their hearts, an idea to try something out, idea to test their abilities, to make something that had not been made before, do something that had not been done before. And so they came. Initially, I talked a couple of weeks ago about that brave band of mothers and fathers and kids that we call the Pilgrims. They came to this land with a dream of starting a new nation. And in the first few months, half of them died almost, just slightly under half. And yet, when the Mayflower left Plymouth Harbor, those people that had that dream in their heart stayed, because they believed that this could be a special and a unique nation, and they saw themselves, as Governor Bradford wrote, as stepping stones to others who were coming to found a new nation. Starting with that little group and with others even before them at Jamestown, you have people like Thomas Edison. He had the idea that he'd make a light bulb. And so he made 100 different light bulbs, all of them failures. And his attitude was, well, now I know 100 ways not to make a light bulb. And so it was that America, with all of these courageous people that had that perseverance and that grit, one person at a time started building this nation, one dream at a time. It became such a common thing, we gave it a name, we called it the American Dream. A dream was to be able to come here with barely the shirt on your back and end up in much better condition than when you started. And so the condition we find ourselves in, with unemployment high and the economic conditions difficult, is something that we should view as not very consistent with our past or what we expect from this country or the standards that we would hold up. And the condition of the economy is one of those things that, if you look at it from a mathematical point of view, there are basic principles in economics that govern how things work. And if you violate those principles, there's bad results, but if you keep to the principles, you do pretty well. Unfortunately, over the last number of years, and with both Republican and Democrat sometimes at the helm, we have violated some basic principles, and now we're starting to see the fruit of that in a high level of unemployment. Now, I have here a little cartoon. This is the president, and he's wanting to know, how come you're not hiring people? You have coming into the China shop a couple of triple bulls here, the health care reform and the cap and trade or cap and tax bill and the war tax, and this poor guy that's got the China shop is looking a little bit worried. And because this is a nice cartoon, but the point of the matter is that there's things that we can do which are going to make it very hard to create jobs. Now, if you were to try to categorize those things, and I've had a chance to go to my district in the St. Louis and St. Charles area in Missouri and talk to many small businessmen, medium-sized businessmen, but people from across the nation too up here in Washington, D.C. And if you ask them this question, people who are in the business world, what are the ways that you can make sure you're going to kill jobs? Maybe this is a reverse way of looking at it. I apologize for that, but there's a reason for why I'm approaching it this way. What are the things to do if you want to make sure that there's not going to be jobs for people? Well, I think about the first thing usually, and I don't know that these are necessarily exactly in the right order, but certainly this first one is the one that comes to the mind of most people. If you ask them, what are you going to do if you want to kill jobs? And the first thing they think of is excessive taxation. Now, Now, that might seem kind of theoretical, but it really shouldn't be any surprise to us. If you picture yourself with a lemonade stand or making some other kind of product, and you figure out how much it costs you to buy your raw materials, you have maybe it's a lemonade machine, so you got to put the lemons in it. You got sugar that you got to buy. You got to have some good water. Got to have an ice maker, and so you put that all together and you figure out what it's going to cost you to make some lemonade. You look at the cost of the ingredients, and people come and buy. It's a hot day, and so they're buying the lemonade, and you're making. There's a difference between what it costs you and what you can sell it for, and so you make a profit, and that's basically the lemonade stand idea. Not complicated. But if the government comes along and taxes every glass of lemonade that goes out, it makes it a little harder to try and make a living. What happens if the government raises the tax too much on your lemonade? Well, then nobody will buy it, and now you're out of business. And so this isn't a very complicated idea that if you do too much taxation on a business, either the business sort of hibernates and tries to weather the storm, or they actually just plain go out of business, and you kill the potential for creating any new jobs as well as getting rid of old ones. So excessive taxation is usually at the top of a lot of business people's things if you want to kill jobs. Another one, and this sounds like a big thing, insufficient liquidity. What that is saying is that businessmen need to borrow money at various times, and they have to get the loans from banks. And if the bank policy is such that the businessman has trouble getting a loan, then it makes it harder for him or her to expand their business. In the current conditions that what we're dealing with, you find that a lot of federal regulators are all over the banks and telling the banks to be very, very careful about any loans they make, and they have to have a tremendous amount of security to make sure that they can even have that loan on their books. And so, depending particularly on federal regulatory toward banks, the liquidity is a big deal, and in our time right now, that liquidity is very tight. We also, of course, and we're going to be talking about that tonight, it's really the subject of our talk, and that is taxation. What should we do about the largest tax increase in history that's coming down the pike the beginning of next year? That's the question. But I want to put it in the context of jobs, because tax increases may sound theoretical, but having a place to work, being able to pay your mortgage, be able to put food on the table for your kids, those are very real things for Americans. The stress of being a good citizen, wanting to take care of your family, and not being able to do that just puts a horrible stress on families and on Americans all over. And it's not the right thing, and it's because we in Congress have not done the right things. So we've got these are some job killers: excessive taxation, the liquidity, the economic uncertainty. That might not seem to people right off the bat to be, well, is that really such a big deal? Well, it really is. If you own a business, every day, every week, every year you're in business, to a degree is a gamble. You're gambling that you can keep your cost of making a product lower than what you can sell it for. But what happens if you're not quite sure what's going on with the economy? You're not sure whether anybody wants to buy your product at all next month, and you've got a whole lot of costs coming along. How do you figure that out? Well, each businessman has to live in that area of taking risks, but you're not going to take many risks if it seems like every time you turn around, there's something you weren't expecting that's coming and whacking you upside the head. Something that's affecting your business, making it harder for you to operate. And so if there's uncertainty, that's one of the things that's going to guarantee that a business owner is going to hunker down and wait for better times. So economic uncertainty is a very big factor in employment or unemployment.